What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we have a highly requested video here on the Mazda CX-50. We are finally going to be installing the front bends DRLs or accent lighting, whatever you want to call it. I know they're advertised online as a fog light kit. They're simply not going to be that. Don't have that expectation on it. They're going to be bright enough to be accent lighting and they look nice on the vehicle, but they're simply not going to function as a legit fog light kit would. So just keep that in mind. So I'm going to show you here what I bought today, the lights that I'm going to be using, what it comes in the packaging and everything, what you can expect from that. Then we're going to jump into removing the bends and installing and getting everything set up here. I have some good news when it comes to that, and I also have some bad news when it comes to that. So let's just jump right into it. And here in the car, we have the lights that we're going to be installing today. I went with this style lights. I didn't like the checker for the front. If you guys saw my video for the rear lighting, we went with the checker pattern there. I think it makes more sense there. Here in the front, I think this is going to look a little bit nicer. If you guys want to catch that video on the rear ones, you can check it out here on the top. But this is what you get when you get this light kit. You're going to get the two lights and you're going to get it harness. Now this is what they mean by plug and play. And the only part that is really plug and play, and that is that the two lights here plug into this harness and that's it. There's not plug and play part here when it comes to the Mazda CX-50. You will have to tap into a power and a ground source, which they do make it nice, at least that it's just the two terminals here. So we're going to get into that here in a second. Now, these lights have three light modes, right? So we have our white light here, which I'll show you guys here in a bit, a amber, and a nighttime driving light, which is blue. I don't know why they went with blue. I am not going to utilize it. Most states here in the US, if not all of them, will have a problem with you having blue lights on the front. So I wouldn't recommend it. And then because I said that, again, I'm not going to run those lights, but I'll show you how they look like in case you decide to do that. So now over here on the side, if I turn this around here, give me 1 second, you're going to see that we have about 4 cables. I'm going to put here a graphic on the side like I did on my last video. Very simple to go through these cables, right? You have your black, which is going to be your ground. You have your red, which is your power. You have your yellow one, which is going to be your turn signal. And then you have your blue one, which is going to be the nighttime driving lights. And that is what gives you the blue lights in here. So let me just go ahead and get this set up here on the side. We're going to test it here with the battery so you guys can see how they all light up. So right here, all I'm going to do is I'm going to get this light. We're going to plug the plug and play part of it right into the harness here. There is a side to it, so just make sure you're plugging it the right way. And then we're just going to go ahead and move the positive here. And we're going to start. This is going to turn on the white light because this is just the driving light of it. So if we put our ground here and we put our power, you see we have a nice little light up animation, and then it's white. Again, they are bright enough to where they're going to be nice and visible on the car, but I wouldn't trust them to be legit turn signals. Now, let me go ahead and show you how the amber lights look, right? So if we grab our yellow cable here, we hook up our power, and then we hook up our yellow cable. That is your amber. So whenever you have a turn signal function, right, you will be getting this. But I'll get into it a little bit later of why that might be difficult here on the CX-50. Now, let me go ahead and show you how the blue lights look, right? Ground cable still on our ground here, and then we hook up the blue light, and that's how that looks. Again, that is pretty blue. I would not recommend you run this ones on the front of the car. Most cops might have a problem with this if they see you with them on. But it's up to you. That is an option if you want to. Now here we are looking at the turn signal on the CX-50, and you might notice one thing. If it's not, I'm going to tell you what it is. Most, if not all of the lights here on the CX-50 are LED. But you might notice that this has a bit of a function like a light bulb would, right? Not an LED bulb, just like a regular light bulb, which is kind of fades out. For them to be able to get this function to where it fades out, it uses a circuit system that uses way more than 2 wires. I believe it's about 5 or 6. I think there's a photo, which I'll post here on the top here on the side. And that is what I think Mazda calls the heartbeat, which is really nice. Honestly, I like it. I think it looks great. You can see that over there here on the rear view mirror as well. But that uses some LED modules and all this other stuff in there, which is going to make it complicated for you to tap into those wires to get the turn signal function on this bend light. And from what I've seen online, a lot of people sometimes end up burning some of those modules when they attempted this. I personally don't want to take that risk. I don't think these lights are worth burning a module or messing up potentially some of these other lights. These lights are going to be a lot more expensive than this light is going to be. So with that in mind, for that reason, I'm choosing not to do the amber light on the bend lights here. and I would recommend you probably don't do that. But on the flip side though, if you wanted to just run the ambers on this, as I showed you earlier, once you give it straight power, not power that is getting cut off, right, like a turn signal would with like a relay or something like that, you can have full amber on the front of the car. So you can choose to run the white ones if you want, you can choose to run the amber lights by themselves if you want, or choose to run the blue lights. That's really going to be up to you. Now you might be thinking, well damn, now about like 70% functions of this lights is gone, right? I can only utilize one potentially if I don't want to run the risk of burning something else with the lighting system. And you might be kind of right, but also the good news on that is that you technically could run the white DRLs all the time, like I'm about to do and show you here when I plug it in. And you can also technically run a switch to the amber lights, because the amber lights will overpower the white ones, just because that is technically the turn signal function of it, right? So you can have a couple options in here. You can run switches to all three of them, right? So you can really wire up all three of them and decide to run amber or the blue ones or the white ones, depending on the switch you have on. That's one option. Second option, you could run the white ones all the time and then put the wire for the turn signal one or the amber lights and run that on a switch. So if you wanted to always just switch back of it, just turn on the ambers and you have the ambers, or turn on the blue ones and you have the blue ones, and then the white ones stay on. Or third kind of potential thing you could do as well is have a three-way switch. If you only want to run amber and blue and white, or amber and blue, or blue and white, whatever it is, if you have a three switch in the middle of this connection, you can just switch to which ones you want on, and then when the car comes on, you would have those lights on. So you have a couple options if you wanted to run more than just one lighting color at a time. Now, because I wasn't ready to do a three-way switch or anything like that today, I'm just gonna run one color. But again, those are possibilities you can have with these lights, since all you need really is another power source to be hitting that light, and then you'll be good to go. But let me go ahead and show you now. Another set of good news is that we don't have to remove the front bumper to get the vents out of the spot they are. Now you might need someone that has smaller hands. If you don't, if you have huge hands, well, you need big gloves, right? So you're gonna have to be able to reach on the side here of the car. The driver's side is a lot easier. The passenger side is a little bit more of a tight spot, but you can definitely do it. Okay guys, now I'm gonna try to do my best of showing you where the things here are. It's gonna be kind of tough. I'm using the GoPro and there's very low visibility from the top. So most of this needs to be really done by you feeling around here and kind of pushing the tabs. Now, if you see this little markings here, there's like a bolt that is plugged into here. That's about halfway down on the vent. So right above that, around this area, like right about where my finger is, there's gonna be one of the little push tabs that holds the vent in there. You need to push it and kind of push it out, right? Like push it in and towards the outside of the car. Now again, I'm gonna have a hard time. You can see right there, there's right in front of my finger there. That's where it is. Now the other one is gonna be kind of right across from it, right? Once you push those two, I noticed that the middle ones don't really give you a lot of trouble. They kind of come out. The other one that's gonna be a little bit hard is gonna be the very bottom one. And again, it's gonna be very hard for me to show you here. This is mostly done by you feeling around, but it's gonna be, let's see if I can get my hand in here. Okay. If you see kind of this, you see where my finger is? It's almost right ahead across from here. You're gonna feel the tab coming out. It's a very long tab on this one, but it's around here. It's again very hard to kind of show you guys because there's not a lot of lighting down there, but you're gonna be able to feel it around this area here. And then if you just push it again and push it out, like push it in and out, you're gonna be able to kind of pull that vent out. And just to show you guys, didn't have to remove anything. Everything's still in place with the bumper. It's just feeling around. Like I said, this middle tabs here, not a big deal. Once you get the top two, right, you can kind of see my light right there. Once you get that one, you're gonna feel this little nub. You go under it, you're gonna feel the other one, push those out. The middle ones, not a big deal. And then you just have to get the very bottom one. That's really all those three tabs is what's mainly holding this one. in place, then you can get it out. It's gonna be the same thing on the passenger side. So if you go to the passenger side, again, you do have the water thing here for the windshield washer, the water reservoir. So that is the one thing that makes it more difficult on this side. So if you have someone with smaller hands, maybe your wife or something will give you a hand, it's gonna be the same thing. Let me bring some light. So here, if you can get your hand through here, you're gonna feel around. Same thing, the tab is right here towards the top. It's like, don't know if you guys are gonna be able to see this here. Let me see if I can get an angle here. I don't think so, but it's literally like straight ahead from where my hand is. Right there with my finger, right there. Very hard to see, but again, you should be able to feel it. Once you get that driver's side, you're gonna know what it feels like. And then for the very top one, you have to like kind of press this down. Try to get your hand underneath here, and then you should be able to feel it right below the thing here. So I know it's not the best explanation, but trust me, get the driver's side out first. Once you get a feel for where the things are on that one, you're gonna know where exactly to kind of feel around for the passenger side. And again, just to show you guys, see, it's taken out. So we don't have to remove anything else. You don't have to undo any bolts on the side or anything. That's the way you can get both of them out of here. And then we're gonna try to get the new ones in place. Again, we're gonna have the issue of having to drill a hole. And there is something that holds kind of this light here on this one. So we need to drill around here. So we're gonna do that here in a second. So now with both bends off, we're gonna go ahead and move on into installing the new ones and drill the hole for the wiring. Now let me show you here. On the stock factory ones, you'll see that there is a bit of a bend passage here on the bottom. And you can see we have a small bend passage here. Also on the new lights that we're gonna put on. It is a little bit smaller compared to the factory one, so we are losing about kind of halfway of this area, right? Like about from here up. But again, they are not bent to cool the brakes. I know people like to post that online. They are just an air bypass. And this is exactly what I mean. If we're looking here at the bend, there's nothing that goes into the car. Everything just bypasses the bumper and comes out on the wheel on this side. So again, not air bends. Even if you get the ones that don't have a bend that go through there, you're not gonna be blocking anything essential on this little passage here. So we are gonna start trying to mock this up here on the side. This area here has on the back side of it has kind of a little hole spot for a bolt. So you do not wanna drill into this area. We wanna drill probably somewhere around here so that we can then push our cables through it and then have access to them on the back of the bumper. So let's do it. All right, and with some eagle eye guesstimation here, that's where we're gonna drill our first little hole. You see my red dot there. Check it out, there is the hole now. You can tell is kind of big. And again, be careful if you are doing this with like a power tool or something, because there is that little bracket behind it. So I use a stepper bit that was kind of big, so that's how I managed to get this that size. So you honestly, once you get a hole in place, you can use the stepper bit by hand. This is plastic, it's very easy to cut away. So if you are concerned about the power tool, do it by hand, you should be able to get there. But now that we can put that in there, I'm gonna remove here on my light the blue cable. I'm not gonna put blue lights on this at all at any point. So I'm just gonna cut that out and trim it. Now the yellow one, I might wanna do a switch down the road for my ambers. Put a little bit of electrical tape so that I can maybe use it down the road, like I said. So we are gonna leave that in there. So let's go ahead and get this in there and get it in place. All right, so with the cables pushed in and our harness pushed in there, we are now good to go ahead and put the light. So we're gonna line up all our little clips. Check it out, guys. The light is in place. Everything lined up perfectly. Everything's looking good. It's not loose like the back one. If you guys remember the back ones, the tabs were a little bit off compared to what the factory one, so we had to like twist them off a little bit. This one is pretty tight in place. I'm not concerned that it's gonna fall off the way it is right now. So that is in there. Harness is on the back part of it. You will be able to see the harness back here. There is my other little harness. The other one is hanging out. And fun fact, if you have the preferred model like I do, there seems to be a plug here. I wonder if that's for like the premium lighting or something. It's just taped in there. But yeah, this is looking good. Let's put on the passenger side and let's do the wiring. All right, guys, so I have routed the cable here. Try to keep it away from any moving parts, anything that's gonna get too hot or anything like that, so that way we're gonna avoid any disaster in the future. So we got the wire harness here from the passenger side coming up. I attach it, there's a hole here with a zip tie. Then we move it up here, attach it again right there. Then along the edge, one more time here, one more time here. Then underneath this, and then there's a couple hoses and stuff like here. Just try to keep it away as much as you can. Zip tie it here one more time. Then put it together with some of the other hardness. And then that is going down towards the light on the driver's side. And then here is the rest of our wiring, because we have to add a fuse tab into that. And I'll show you here. You do have to buy that one. You might have noticed the date change here on my video, and the reason is because I thought I had one and I actually had to order it and wait for the new one since I didn't have one. So we're gonna add that here in a second, and then once we have that added, we're gonna finalize routing our wiring and zip tying it so it's not loose and dangling or hitting anything like that. So let's go ahead and get the fuse tab here, and I'll show you guys. Super cheap, you can get it on Amazon, comes as a kit, like just a few bucks. I'll have links for everything down in the description so you guys can pick it up, the fuse tab, pick up the lights, anything like that. So check out the description for that. So check it out, this is the one we're gonna be using. This is a mini tap, a fuse tap in here. This is the kit you buy. It's less than $5, and it's two of them and a few fuses and a few extra things. Actually pretty nice for the price. I don't particularly like this hard plastic ends, so I'm gonna switch to the one I already had, which is a heat shrink style here. So that's the only difference. You can definitely use those. There's really more of a preference. Like I said, I like the heat shrink one, so I'm gonna swap it out real quick here. And then we're gonna attach that into our power wire here. Our ground, we're gonna leave it as is. It's gonna be good as is. We're gonna actually put that one here into the grounding position over here. And then our fuse tab is gonna go into F18 right here, which is a 15 amp. So make sure when you're adding your fuse in here, you have a 15 amp fuse as well. That's gonna give us the power to the lights here. It's gonna make them come on when the car turns on, and it's gonna make them shut off when the car shuts off. So let me just adapt that to the cable here, and then I'll show you once it's put together so we can see how they work. All right, guys, so we have our fuse tab here all nice and put together. All you miss right now is me splicing and adding the heat shrink and crimping and all that. If you don't know how to do that, I'm sorry, but this is not the video for that. You might have to look on that somewhere else. But now that we have our fuse tab here in place, like I said, we're gonna go ahead and remove the fuse F18, which is this one here on the top. If we look our little plate here, you're gonna see that F18 is over here, and that's how this goes over here, like this. So let's go ahead and take that fuse, add it to our tab here, and then we're gonna put that in place right there. And then we're also gonna route the ground here to the ground position here. You might need a 10mm socket for that, so get that out, put the ground, and then tying it back up. Let's get it done. I wish I could show you kind of the progress here, but literally all my batteries for my cameras died. I think it's the heat. It killed them up kind of quick, so I had to switch over to my phone. All right, and here is more or less the final product. You can kind of see our tab is kind of above the other one here. We are on F18, so the very top one here on the right-hand side. We are guiding the cable through here, through the bottom. Once we put the cover, hopefully that's not gonna be in the way. My ground wire is also going underneath here and then up to this point, and it's nice and secure. So we should be pretty much good to go here. I also added another zip tie down there, keep the wiring again from just dangling around. Might just add another one here just to, again, keep it a little more secure. But we are looking good here. We all have to do now is turn on the car and then see if our nice new lights come on. Let's do it. So there you have it, guys. The lights are working awesome in here. You can kind of see they look great on the car. They're only going to be on when the car is on. They're going to turn off when the car is off. Keeping that in mind, they're not going to be coming on when you unlock or lock the car, since we didn't tap exactly into the lights like we did on the rear lights. But you're not going to be having the problem of draining the battery or anything like that with this, because everything is off once the car is off, like I said. So everything here in the hood is nice and neat and put together. The fuse box went in place all nice and tight, no problems there. So yeah, we are pretty much done. This is how it's going to look. If you did the amber cable instead of the white ones, then you have amber lights. If you did the blue one instead of the amber or the white one, then you have blue lights here in the front. Or if you went with another option like a switch or something like that, then you can control that as you see fit. But this is basically all you need to do to get this lights installed. I have links down in the bottom so you guys can pick up the lights, pick up the fuse, anything else you need. It helps me and my channel. It doesn't cost you anything extra when you get those through my links. it just supports my channel, like I said. So thank you so much so far. If you've been sticking around so far, leave a like, leave a comment, let me know your thoughts. They're gonna look even better at night, so I'll try to get a shot here once it gets a little bit darker. But yeah, very happy with the result. I think it looks great. So if you stuck around so far, thank you so much. Thank you for watching. Hopefully you liked this video and found it useful for you to install some CX-50 lights into your car. So again, leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, and hopefully we'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.